Hey guys, Helen Hart-Smith here from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel, here with another video response for the 2017 YouTube Pagan Challenge. This video will address the week 14 question, which is, let me reference, do you use, would you try psychoactive drugs, hallucinogenics, etc. for spiritual purposes? It's funny that this question has come up recently because the short answer is yes, kind of. So let's I think we really need to take a step back and say, okay, why would one use any kind of hallucinogenic or psychoactive drugs for spiritual purposes? And actually that falls into a practice called ecstatic purpose, or practices, excuse me, and that is the thought of shifting consciousness so that you can travel somewhere, that you can use trance and things like that to shift your consciousness in the idea or thought that you can touch the divine mind and communicate. So there are many ways that examples, the word escaped me for a moment, of things that you can use for ecstatic practices. Trance work is, excuse me, that's the aim. And so it's all about kind of like using outside influences to reach this trance-like state. So that's where the psychoactive drugs and hallucinogenic drugs come into play. Peyote, using peyote cactus, that is a hallucinogenic plant that was used by Native Americans for generations for spirit questing, or excuse me, vision questing and things like that. So of course there's the drug aspect. There are also people that will use alcohol for such a purpose. There's also things like dancing for I was actually doing some reading to be able to kind of talk about this a little bit more, and there are ecstatic purposes that are in many religions around the world, and one that I thought was really neat is the Sufi whirling dancing or spinning dancing. And if I'm thinking correctly, this is, you see people spinning and spinning and spinning, and they'll have these kind of like costumes on. I'm not entirely sure what they're called, so I'm just going to call them a costume. I hope I don't offend anyone, but I don't want to try to use any other kind of a term, and so I'm using it respectfully. So there's long skirt-like parts to this costume, and I want to say that there's a specific kind of hat, if what I'm picturing in my head is true, and it's almost it's a flat hat, kind of like a Shriner hat is what I'm remembering. So if someone could correct me in the comments, I would appreciate that if I'm on the right track. But you spin and spin and spin, and so you enter a trance-like state, and then you can possibly receive answers or have communication. So as far as my practices with ecstatic uses, early on in my practice, I didn't really get into it much. And that's because I don't really have a particular reason why. But recently I've actually had to do something for homework, and I didn't use any hallucinogenic drugs or anything like that. I don't know if y'all picked this up about me or not, but I'm not particularly a spring chicken anymore. And I went through my phase of, having some recreational marijuana use and stuff like that. And I just kind of grew out of it. And I grew out of it long before I became a witch. And so that was something I can connect with deity just fine without it. So I've never had to use it or felt that I wanted to use it. Not that I'm against it, because if I mean, tomorrow I could, want to do something like that. But at this point in my practice, I had not. But in a recent homework assignment, you had to, try something. And so I opted to go with alcohol. And so I had a couple of glasses of wine and did some working. I won't, go into the details of that. But I don't know. It is what it is. I think that there are people, I think that like dancing especially, I've heard of many people, which at Convocation, I actually did take a class where we used dancing in an ecstatic implementation, and I thought it was great. And actually, my last full moon ritual, I did some dancing on my own. I dig dancing, but I guess I haven't really done it in a ritual purpose. Well, we do a little bit with the coven, but nothing major. But I liked it. And so I'm going to keep doing it. And so, I think there's definitely room in your practice for the use of ecstatic practices. And so I don't necessarily think that it has to be hallucinogenics or psychoactive drugs. There are other things that you can try. So I would suggest trying it if you have not. So those are my experiences. And I guess I'm going to wrap up the video with that. So if you've learned something from this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, please. And I would love to hear comments. If you've had any experiences that you want to share, are comfortable with sharing, then let's hear about it. Let's have a discussion, so to speak. And so, yeah, that's it. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks for walking the path a little while with me. And until next time, blessed be.